Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a 40mm rose gold watch launched at Baselworld 2015. This is the Breguet Tradition Automatique Seconds Retrograde, a timepiece, reference 7097, that represents the best of Breguet. Now, there's some days at work where I have to review 8 Rolex watches in a row, and then there are days when I get to review the really fun stuff, watches like this. So, let's talk about the size. 40 millimeters in diameter. It's fairly thin with an almost bubble-like sapphire. 11.7 millimeters thick, 49.6 millimeters from lug to lug with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw the watch on the wrist. This is a Patek killer, and I don't say that lightly. The watch is fairly large at almost 50 millimeters lug to lug. I'd recommend it for a wrist of at least 15 centimeters circumference, but it's quite comfortable, and being as thin as it is, with a domed bezel and a domed sapphire, it will fit underneath the dress cuff. Taking a look at the strap, it is medium brown with a little bit of an undertone of red. Semi-gloss, large rectangular scale alligator leather. It has a monotone stitch, a folded edge, and then on the underside, calf skin. You will note that this is a brand new Breguet factory strap, neither crimped nor gouged. And there is a lovely Breguet factory pin buckle, a handsome piece in rose gold to match the watch. You can see, as with the fixture to the lugs, the strap is attached using screws and bars for utmost security. And that is a feature we find on the watch. Screws and bars used to fix the strap to the case. A little bit more expensive than using a spring bar, but more secure and appropriate to a large, heavy, and expensive super premium watch. The case is made by hand, cold rolled and then hand finished to create the coining on the side, and then the lugs are inserted into slots in the case flank, welded on and then hand finished to remove evidence of the joint between the welded lug and the case flank. So this is an entirely handcrafted case. Domed bezel, domed case back, each with a little lip that defines the mid case. If you were to measure it from the edge of that lip, the watch would measure across the wrist as a 41. Push down crown, 30 meters water resistant, Breguet logo, and a dramatically cambered and domed sapphire. A cambered sapphire is more expensive than flat, so Breguet is not pinching pennies. We have a lot of handcrafted goodness here. And you can see there is a retrograde seconds indicator. That's what sets the 7097 apart. The dial, however, let's start from the hands and work our way out. The dial hands are made of steel. They're fired until they're blue, and they are Breguet designs. They are Breguet hands in fired blue steel. The dial is cut on a rose lathe. This is real rose lathe guilloche. It says guilloche mat at the base of the dial, and truly it is. The rose lathe is a very manual tool, a large engine guided by hand and programmed by hand to create patterns such as the dental track outboard of the hours and minutes, or the pyramide at the center. And the dial on which this guilloche is rendered is made of solid gold that is then galvanized the silver color you see here. Now, the watch features stop seconds, and you can see when I stop the seconds, it uses a free sprung balance adjusted in a chronometer busting 6 positions. Remember, chronometer is 5, this watch is adjusted in 6. We have recessed bolts, which are used to make all the fine timing adjustments. You'll also note that they're out of the free airstream, which reduces the influence of aerodynamics and aerodynamic drag on the timing. We have Breguet's parachute shock protection system. We have this large overlapping spring, this cantilever spring on the top, and that is Abraham Louis Breguet's original innovation, shock protection in his day on pocket watches. Here, it's being used in a wristwatch format. You can also see there's an overcoil, but what you can't quite see is that this Breguet overcoil, which breathes concentrically in every position, is actually made of silicon. But silicon, in general, can't be formed in 3 dimensions. So how did they create an overcoil? Well, they used a patented methodology to craft 2 separate pieces in silicon and then physically clamp them together at the junction of the overcoil and the flat hairspring. So you get the concentric breathing qualities of an overcoil, which will breathe concentrically and keep even time in any position, but then you also get the anti-magnetic qualities of silicon. Let's keep going. Down from that free sprung balance, you can see there's a single balance cock, not a double-sided bridge. We have a finger bridge for the 4th wheel, the 3rd wheel. We have a center mounted barrel from which we have a great wheel, the third wheel, the fourth wheel, the escape wheel, and the balance. And these individual trains are a nod to the clock-making and pocket watch-making era during which Breguet worked. You can also see that the spoke design of the wheels, which is a sort of tapered spoke rather than straight spokes from a central hub, that is also a nod to the pocket watch era. The barrel's at the center because it's the focal point of the watch. It's the source of the energy. It's an automatic winding watch with a 50-hour power reserve. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it pivots on 38 joules. If you look carefully, you can see that the interior faces of the wheels have all been beveled, so the inner circumference as well as the spokes themselves, creating sharp interior angles where the spokes meet the rim. If you look carefully, and I'll do my best to show this to you, the edge of each bridge has mirrored anglage, so although the look is a shot-peened media blasting on the top, as it would have been in antiquity, the edges have conventional modern mirrored anglage, so no corners cut. The screw heads are all black polished with chamfered slots in circumference. And then we have a satination on the top of the wheels as well as the top of the barrel. Flip it all over, you can see that there is a white gold mass with a combination of satin finish and high polish. That's the automatic winding mechanism, and you can see on the reverse side the underlying mechanism that underpins the retrograde seconds. So you can watch the retrograding action from the front, but you can also watch it from the rear, and the watch has a dynamism to it that would be lacking without the retrograde, so I'm quite happy to see it there. We'll flip over to the reverse side. You can see this mechanism underneath my finger underpins the retrograding second, and you can see it jump in its own right once every minute. The remainder of the bridges feature extensive shot peening, as we saw on the dial side, as well as more of that mirrored anglage, which shows up on every bridge that has a square edge. It is a gorgeous movement with an engraved Breguet logo, and again, all of this 30 meters water resistant, very, very special. Artisanally, and in terms of engineering, as good as anything you will find from Patek Philippe, and quite a bit more interesting. This is a modern-day interpretation of what a Breguet pocket watch would look like in a wristwatch format. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.